Sherman On's Facebook.
Okay.
So you should do it on Keri Anne's Facebook. So we have multiple streams.
Yes, I just don't have my tripod.
Oh, you don't have tripod time.
Remember that? Because I didn't bring my bag.
You didn't bring your equipment. Keri Anne's not prepared today.
Need a tripod.
Hey, maybe Brian's got one.
I do.
Of course. Brian has the goods.
You have a pop socket?
Yeah. Brian's prepared. I love it.
What would be the best backdrop for you? That's why I want.
Oh, that's great.
Is it?
I got Smile behind me. How
All right.
fantastic is
Yeah, you
that?
can't help but smile. Hi, Amy.
It's true.
Nice to meet you.
Do you want the food to stay there?
Yeah, can they see it?
Yeah. Oh, okay. I didn't know if that was,
Yeah, because we're kind of covering it anyway. Food's good, smiling's good.
But is this okay? Because if people come in,
Yeah, we'll roll with it. It'll be okay.
Hello,
Sure.
how are you?
I'm very flexible.
I'm
A lot of different ways.
Good. We're good.
And we could
everybody.
we could scoot you forward too, Keri Anne.
Inaki.
Okay. Brian's going to set me up with his tripod.
Okay.
And then we'll be good.
All right.
And then
Then
we'll be good.
I'm just gonna sit down.
Yeah.
Please.
You sit down and you enjoy.
Can I get anyone water?
I'm good.
Okay.
No, but I'm surprised you guys don't feed people soda here. That's what I would be doing.
And candy?
You know?
Like gummy candy?
Yeah.
Water on the way out,
We
soda
get
on the way in.
Sour Patch Kids.
Yeah, candy. So I'm a dentist office. That's what I would be doing. Giving out lots of candy, lots of sugar.
You know what?
The best place for trick or treating every year.
We've been blessed
Water. Thanks.
with so many awesome patients that I don't need any more problems.
Yeah, probably right here.
Sit this up with me.
We should bring the computer behind our head.
Okay. So we're just setting up everybody a little bit behind here, and so then we'll be jumping in. Today we're talking about basically social media strategies in the dental healthcare space. So again, don't have to be a dentist. I think if you're in the dental sales, it would still apply some of these concepts and strategies. So I'm going to push this back. We're running live on Facebook for Keri Anne. Oh, look at that. It's fantastic. Brian's so prepared, by the way. It's always good to have somebody that knows what they're doing. Yeah, you want me to help you turn it on? Yeah. So I've got some sweet announcements, by the way, for those of you that are keeping up on your Facebook, that you can actually start creating on Facebook your own like slideshows with music and transitions. Really kind of cool stuff. So if you aren't taking advantage of it, totally can. Well, there you go.
There we go.
Okay.
We gotta turn mine on.
So we're going to turn on Keri Anne. So now we're going to go live on mine, then we're going to go live on Keri Anne's. So just live right there. Oh. And then, boom.
There we go.
And then we're here on Instagram as well. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to put them down in below. Let us know what's on your mind. We'll make sure that we address any of your questions and comments.
Now we can turn that a little bit just so we can get both of us.
Yeah, you can just turn it. And are you in the Facebook?
Push the camera around.
Yeah, there you go.
This is so fun. There's 3 cameras going at one time.
Yeah, so we're trying. We might not be able to move Keri Anne because we're gonna be like stuck like right here, not moving a lot. Who we got? Mike Wall. What's up, buddy? How's Houston? Houston's in the house. Okay.
Thanks for joining us, everybody. So,
Yeah, it was awesome.
Keri Anne Comedy.
Sherman. And so we just want to thank Glazer Dental for having us here today. You can see the awesome sign behind us, Smile. They are the hosts for today's session. So if there's any businesses in town you want us to come into your place and do a live session like this, please let us know. Mm-hmm. So as we jump in, before we kind of launch into everything, is there anything that's on your guys' minds that you want to make sure that, hey, kind of I've been thinking about this, I want you to talk about it. So we have obviously some prepared remarks, but if you guys have anything online, leave them in the comments below, or of course here. So the first one is, Mike said, what do you think is the future of Facebook? It's a very big question. So one of the things that I think you're going to find from Facebook's perspective is they want to still be seen as more of a personal tool, and that if you're a business, they're going to start forcing businesses to either pay for the attention or to be able to post differently. So I know that they are looking at people's personal accounts that are posting a lot about business, but it's under their personal account. They might start restricting people or completely blocking their posts. So remember, they have billions upon millions and millions of posts on a regular basis. So they know what people are posting about, and so they see a lot of this. Hey, buy this item, buy this service, and it's from your personal account. They know that you're really just soliciting for business from your personal account, and they're going to start restricting you and pushing you to a business platform. The other one that I would say that you're going to start seeing is it's going to be a lot in video format. So Mark Zuckerberg actually told BuzzFeed back in 2016 that in 5 years he would anticipate everything being in video. And so you can actually see that on the business post. You can actually grab like 5 or 10 different photos and put it into a slideshow, and then you can actually put music to it. You can put transitions to it, so you can actually start creating your own video right there on Facebook. So that's really where I think the evolution is going. You're kind of going to have to kind of pay to play.
Yep. And so I'm going to add to the solicitation piece. So they are going to be watching for that. But when you, from your personal account, want to tag a business or thank a business or highlight something, and you're tagging, had a great experience at Glacier Dental today. I got some pearly whites and they look great. And you want to tag them, like that's not, they're not going to limit you in that regard. But if you're trying to constantly sell or that's going to be watched. So, from what I understand.
Good question, Mike.
Great
Thanks
question.
for asking. Is there anything else? Let's see.
Hi, Jan.
How you doing?
Hi, Mike.
How you doing?
Hi, Jason.
All right.
So
we're going to jump in. So those of you that have kind of sat in on sessions before, you know that Keri Anne and I talk about like the 4 pillars of social media. So you have platform, content, posting, and engagement. And so a lot of times you can't get to the engagement unless you have the first 3. So a lot of times it's hard to engage with someone if you don't really have any content for them to engage with you on. So what we want to be able to do is really have our remarks specifically towards kind of the dental healthcare arena. And so hopefully as we kind of talk you through these different concepts, it might make sense kind of where you are in your particular field or industry of area of expertise. And so the biggest thing that we're believers on is that it's show me world. So never before have you been able to command your own marketing company and your own PR for free. I mean, you don't have to go and get a company to be able to do these things for you. I think sometimes it can be helpful from a consultative process, but again, we don't need that. What we want to focus on is just giving you the tools in order for you to be able to run on your own. Right.
And what is your mission? What is your vision? And how are you telling your story? So
if we jump into the platforms first, and then Keri Anne's going to talk about the content piece a little bit. So if we look at platforms, right, we got LinkedIn. Well, you guys tell me, what platforms do you know that exist? LinkedIn. What's that? Twitter. Yep.
Yep.
What else?
Instagram.
Instagram, yes.
YouTube.
Snapchat. There's a dentist I know of on the East Coast that I follow that she's on Musical.ly, doing some fun things with music and connecting with a younger group. There's Snapchat as well. So that's more of a communication platform, but yet it has some social functionality to it. And so when Keri and I were talking about it, we felt like Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, and if you're auditory, podcasting, but really Facebook and Instagram are your strong winners in the dental industry, mainly because Instagram is a video and photography platform. It's meant to show exactly what happens in your space or what you're doing. So it's a way to be able to show what you do. And the other one, of course, is Facebook, just from a quantity standpoint, especially in our communities. That's where a lot of people are on Facebook.
And you want to go where your audience is, where you're going to be attractive to your selected audience, your consumers. So when we talk about healthcare in general, and I think it's very important to remember to connect with your provider. And also, before you're selecting a provider or selecting a dentist, as the patient, you have the patient right to get to know that provider before scheduling your appointment. You can absolutely ask to get to know more about the provider and make that connection and develop a trustful relationship, knowing that you're in good hands, you feel good about your care plan, you've gotten the opportunity to get to know that provider a little bit better. There are times where, we've made that mistake and we've made the wrong selection in a provider because we didn't, maybe we didn't do our research fully, or maybe the referral wasn't exactly what we thought it could be, and we just need to learn more. We need to do more research on our own. There are a lot of avenues out there online. There's health grades where you can get the ratings of a provider, where you can just learn more. Take the time to do your research and learn more about that provider. Social media offers a variety of ways to learn more about the clinic and the care plans, the specialties, who the experts are in, oral surgery or what have you. Also, if you go to a provider and you're looking for a specific procedure, and perhaps they don't provide that at that clinic, the likelihood of them making a great referral for you is good. But do your research and make sure that you have that trust in the provider. So learn via Facebook, LinkedIn, what have you. Learn about the specialties that the provider has, and does that resonate with you? Does that seem like a good feel for you? Learn about your intuition. Trust your intuition and really get to know the clinic and the provider and specialty as you're looking to connect with a healthcare professional and clinic. So again, that's your right as a patient. So take advantage of that. It's a relationship. You want to find a dental clinic that it's not like a one and done, right? So you want to be able to have that long-lasting relationship and know that your oral health is going to be taken care of forever. Also in dentistry, maybe there's a provider that's a specialist in dentistry and sleep apnea. And there's providers at Aspirus that specialize in that arena, but there are other dentists that are also specialists in that arena. So if, Aspirus is a long way out, perhaps you contact another provider that is in the dentistry arena and who's a specialist in that as well, and meet with them, meet with Aspirus, what have you. But learn about them, learn about the provider, the clinic, their specialty, and how they may be able to help you. But get to know them personally so that you have that trust with them, and I think your overall patient experience, that's truly what's important, is your overall experience with a provider and how you feel and the environment that you're in. It all is so encompassing in your overall care.
And so one of the comments was brought up by Amy Glazier, actually. Says, many times the culture of the office shines through the initial contact, the receptionist. So really good point to be able to put out here is that because we are coming in a lot of times, a lot more research, a lot more educated as a patient, we have an opportunity to do some research ahead of time. And so for us as a dental clinic, if we're not out there showing people who we are, what our company culture looks like, what it's going to feel like, then we're not putting our best foot forward. And so we have an opportunity then to be able to let people be at ease when they come into a clinic, because most people when they come to a dentist's office isn't like, I'm super psyched about that. That is not like the reaction, is it? And so here it is from an anxiety perspective. The patient typically comes in not necessarily excited about the engagement. And so what you can do is you can start getting people comfortable with the space, with the culture, with what's going to be happening. And to your point, you can start talking about expertise. So they can feel like, okay, I know if I come to this dentist, these are the different things, or if I come to this orthodontist, these are the different things that they're going to help me with. And if they don't talk about those things, I feel comfortable enough based on what they're showing me to come and ask them if they can help me.
Exactly. And based upon their story and what they're sharing on their platforms, if I am coming to Glacier Dental for my general dentistry and but I also want my teeth whitened, like tell me about your services and show me like some before and after photos. That's where we can use Instagram and Facebook to really showcase, you know, the testimonial of the patient as long as they've provided their consent. But those are important things to showcase on these platforms. And I just want to mention too, you know, the power of the testimonial, the power of the patient experience testimonial, that if there is an opportunity to be shared, to really just take advantage of that. Because sometimes, I mean, if I am coming in for procedure and I have to have a crown or something, I've never had that, but it sounds frightening to me. It's not frightening, is it, Amy? It's not scary, everybody.
Super painful.
But you know, that would give me a lot of anxiety. But if there was a testimonial from a patient that said, you know, I received, you know, I got my crown put on at Glacier. Dr. Glacier did a great job. It was no sweat. This is my service. This was my experience with the service that was provided. Like, please feel free to use my testimonial to anyone that may have anxiety of having this procedure done.
Pam Jackson does say, though, a crown does make you a princess.
Oh,
I like that.
True that.
I'm stealing that quote. We're going to put it in here.
Yeah.
And lights.
That's great. Amy, we're going to do that. Okay. But truly, you know, so if there's an opportunity where you have a patient that wants to provide that testimonial to say, it's really not that bad, or this was my experience, with consent, I would love to be if I were a new patient, I would love to be able to read that and know that, that there's these testimonials out there where there's been great experiences. I want to see them. I want to do that, take that extra step and know that I'm in good hands, that other people too have had this done and they're doing well. So.
And the one thing, just to be able to, we all live in a compliance-heavy industry, especially healthcare lives with HIPAA. And so the reality, though, is that you don't want that to be the barrier of what you can show. And you'd be surprised that a lot of patients would be totally fine with you showing pictures of their teeth. So it's not their face at all, it's just teeth. And it's showing what's been able to happen that's been a good experience for them. And so some are going to say yes and some are going to say no, and you don't want to take that personal just because some people feel totally comfortable with their health, other people don't. And so it's a great way to be able to just show, to that testimonial point, exactly what gets done at your clinic. And so dentistry is one of those unique industries because as a dentist, you're a surgeon, you're an anesthesiologist, and then you're typically a business owner. And so you're wearing a multitude of different hats that doesn't exist in other areas of any kind of industry. You know, if I run a plumber shop, I just basically deal with pipes, and I might have a business. But I don't have to wear all these different hats that are very technical. And so for the content that you're creating, I think that's one of the biggest struggles, I think, for a lot of dentist offices is, okay, what should we showcase? And so one of the first places I would go to is employees. So there's very few dental offices that don't have at least an office manager or a front receptionist.
A director of first impressions. Maybe.
Yes, I love that. That's right, first
Yes.
impressions. And so those are people that you can highlight their birthdays, their anniversaries, things that maybe accomplishments that they had, maybe they passed specific exams, and so you can talk about the personal and professional life. Of course, if those employees are comfortable with that.
You know, and on a side note, speaking of employees, as I walked in here today, I heard Amy talk about Larissa, one of her team members, how an older gentleman came in today, and she spent an hour with him just going over his paperwork. And you know, had he gone somewhere else, maybe he wouldn't have received like such genuine, direct attention and care. So it just, and she got emotional about it because she was so pleased with the performance and just good Samaritanship of her team member. You know, that is That's unique, you know.
And so how do you get that? Is you recognize that.
Yes.
So the moment that somebody does something like that, you can instantaneously talk about that and just say, hey, Larissa, I saw you do this. I wanted to thank you here publicly on this tool we call Facebook, and just say you did a phenomenal job. I'm completely impressed with what you did. And guess what? That cost you $0, but will leave that employee feeling like, number one, you appreciated what they did, and two, you recognized what they did.
Absolutely. So that's, I mean, and again, it's the power of the story. So sometimes we just aren't on the forefront of thinking what to share or when, which, you know, I'd like to hit a little bit about that today, about when to share things on social media. You know, we're talking about content, but I think we should also talk about timing.
Mm-hmm. And then one thing that we were talking about was events, right? So this is just a good example of Amy. Obviously, she doesn't have anything to do with social media, right? So her to have us in and to do this kind of Q&A with Sherman, Keri Anne, doesn't necessarily make sense for a dentist office to do this, right? But here's a way that she's just inviting people in the live session and also publicly to be able to come to this and be able to get the space. And so it's another way to be able to just get people aware of them.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and just making them comfortable, like showing where they are, what they do, taking, you know, just having an opportunity as, you know, a teaching opportunity of what the clinic is about. It's also shows dedication to just community learning. You know, we Sherman and I dedicate our time doing this, and really appreciate the hosting. But we've had the opportunity to learn more about what's in our backyard, more about this clinic, more about the services that are provided here, and it's truly unique. Each provider has their own way of doing things, has their own delivery, and it's great to learn what delivery is attractive to you. So, you know, in the energy of this space. So it's really nice to be able to utilize your clinic, your environment, if you have the capacity and to do community events like this. It brings people to you. The best marketing you can do is, of course, the social media platforms, but also bringing the community to you. You know, whether you're going to host a little event or a little Q&A about oral hygiene for, you know, a specific, you know, for dentures. I don't know, but, you know, something very specific.
There probably is something like that. That's important.
Yeah,
it sounds like, right?
I mean,
who's got dentures out there? Maybe you can chime in. So you know what it reminds me of is Dale's Weston Lanes. Has anyone gone to Dale's Weston Lanes not to bowl? Why did you go there? Okay, there was a funeral at a bowling alley. What else?
Music for me.
I live right near there, and I don't know who does their event planning, but they like every day they have like a motorcycle swap, antique cars, muscle cars. They have a ton of stuff utilizing the space of their parking lot, utilizing the space inside because they have some conference rooms. They have, obviously, the ones we think about for bowling alleys, right, are birthdays and, of course, bowl league, or just, you know, bowling for, you know, nonprofits. But they have a ton of events that have nothing to do with the actual bowling alley and the bar. Mm-hmm. But yet they are packed all the time. Remember we were talking about the woodchucks?
Right. So this year, the Wisconsin Woodchucks are hosting a series of events unrelated to baseball. So they're really taking advantage of just that, of utilizing all of their space, the newly renovated stadium, etc., to host events other than baseball. So, for example, on the 4th of July, last year I think was their first annual event where they did fireworks. You know, and it was just really neat because all of the fireworks came from center field. You know, so it was just right in front of you. It was a family experience, And I think that is what was, I mean, it's just really attractive in our community because we're often looking for activities and things that involve all of our family members. And so they're really taking advantage of this next year, which they haven't released all of their goodies yet. So watch for them. But they are going to be having a lot of upcoming events in addition to the baseball games.
Yeah, I know I just saw them today that they're hosting a fast pitch softball team at the field. And so think about the space that you have and the opportunities that you can be able to do, whether it's educational, you're combining, maybe a local business in town and you're showcasing them at your space. You're already paying for the lease or you own the building, you may as well make as much use out of it as possible. Obviously don't sleep here, but do everything beyond that, right?
Or sleep here.
Invite people over, have a sleepover.
Yeah, I'll say too, at Shank, we have a large training room with a lot of AV equipment, and we invite nonprofits to use it for free. So the Boys and Girls, Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, whatever, if they want to have their meetings in our training room and it's available, we just donate it. We just donate the space. So think about how you can bring people to you, to introduce them to who you are, what you do, and why you want to. How are you supporting the community? People like to feel very connected to the people that they engage with, whether it be professionally, personally. So that's definitely something to keep in mind.
So is there anything that you guys think of as you think about content that would be useful to either see in a post, or you think that would be valuable to be able to be put out there? Any thoughts?
Or if you're looking to introduce a new service or an expansion or a change to your current setup in your business, how do you imagine you would do that?
Maybe offer a free one for someone.
What's that?
Maybe offer a free one for someone. Freebies.
Okay.
Freebies are good.
Freebies are good. And fun. Yep. Brian, you're a business owner. What do you think?
Not sure.
So for example, I mean, I just am thinking how like Happy Mac specifically has helped me. So I wanted to learn how to use a certain system on my MacBook. What did I buy?
MacBook Air.
MacBook Air. I don't know. I don't really know how to use it fully yet.
So
I'm working on it. But I wanted to learn how to use it a little better, learn to use some systems on there. And I was able to do a training with Brian. I had not known that was available to me until he introduced that
Which is awesome.
to me, which is awesome. So just learning more about what's available to you.
And so where I think a lot of times it goes into from a content perspective, the next question really is, what medium should I use? Should I use a podcast and be auditory? Should I do video content and maybe it's a selfie stick and I video record myself, or do I take a bunch of photos before and after? And what I would say for a lot of people before, just think about whatever you're comfortable with. Mm-hmm. So if you're not comfortable being behind the lens and because you're worried about the lighting or you don't like the way that you look, and everyone's got flaws, by the way. A lot of times you'll notice I got the lazy eye. It's all over the place sometimes. But you got to get beyond that. And some of you won't, though. Some of you will be like, oh, I can never do that, and that's fine. So then what you can do then is be the camera person, and then you can just record what's in front of you. Right. The other one is, I think if you're good at the written word, I think articles are a great way. Blogs are still a really, really strong medium. There is actually a website called medium.com, and it's an app, and it is kind of the new place to be able to vlog. A blog, so you can type things out. So some people are really good at the written word. Facebook as well is one of those weird platforms where we can watch a video for 15 or 20 minutes. We can read a very long-winded rant that somebody has. We don't mind clicking on posts that take us out to another article. It's a very unique platform where you don't get a lot of that kind of engagement. On Instagram, you can't click on certain things that's going to take you out of their platform. It basically keeps you all inside of Instagram. Instagram. It's a really unique tool that way. So think about, number one, what is your strength from a communication perspective? What are you most comfortable in? And that's where you start. And don't worry about not doing all the other stuff. That's, again, part of the strategy. You eventually want to get to other platforms, but you want to be able to just start where you're the most comfortable and go, and then it'll start evolving. I think you have read that comment from Amy.
Okay, Amy Garvey. All of these things take time in the dental industry. There's just not enough time. Suggestions on how to incorporate these tools and keep everyone happy and feeling good. So timing is, we run out of time. There's not enough time in the day, it feels like often. But even if it's dedicating 20 minutes, like if you're finding 20 minutes in your day to make that a set time to focus your attention on your platforms, that's what's most effective. That's what I try and do, and I find most effective is dedicating a specific time where I'm uninterrupted. Now, that could be all of those mediums. It could be vlogging, it could be blogging, it could be you're making certain Instagram memes, you could be making memes, but whatever it is, you can get, if you're just solely focused on that, you can get quite a bit done in a 20-minute time span. And that's what works best for me. Sherman, what works best for you?
So this is where I kind of hack time a little bit. So, and I posted up the other day that I'll take like 45 minutes. And again, I'm very comfortable. Obviously, there's no obviously. I've been doing this for about a year and a half, but like I've been speaking since I was about 14. So for me, like coming out and speaking just comes natural. But I'll take 45 minutes, and I did this last Monday, and I recorded just one habit of 7 habits of highly effective people. So it was like a minute and a half. So for 45 minutes, I basically created about 10 videos. And I then took the next 2 weeks to post out those videos. So what, from a time perspective, from a creation perspective, really only took me about an hour of all-in time by the time I got it and then edited it. I had to kind of cut the ends out because, again, I'm hacking this, right? Because there's no production company here. I got a selfie stick, I'm recording it, then I'll so the video has me like grabbing the phone and turning it off. So I cut that off. I just use an app on my phone to be able to do that. Mm-hmm. And so that's where I think you can start hacking into the time. So I think about when someone first comes into the office, it's taking a photo like of maybe the outside, maybe because again, we had winter here, so it's the space, right? You want to showcase the space of it. You want people to feel comfortable when they come to the space at a dental office. So you take a photo. I upload that, right? During lunch hour, instead of going and talking with someone else that I've already talked to a bazillion hours in the day, mm-hmm. I decide during my lunch hour, I'm not going to talk to you for 20 minutes. I'm going to focus on either doing a video, walking around the office. Heck, even this office, by the way, has a really cool picture in the bathroom of a bunch of lips and teeth. It's kind of cool. I would take a photo of that and I'd put it up.
Good to know.
And then any patient that before they leave, I would just ask them, how was your experience? Would you be open to us doing a video? Would you be open to just telling us how it went? And it doesn't just off the cuff. Now, you'll find a lot of people are going to say no because I don't like the way I look. But you'll get a person like me that like loves being on camera, and I'll be like, dude, I'll totally do it, and I can do it right off the cuff, and it'll be spectacular because I love talking. And by the way, I'm not a total anomaly, although I am like a 6-foot Asian dude, so that is a little bit weird, and I'm pretty big. At least in my mind, I am. But I have friends of mine that are just as outgoing as I am. They're just crazy, talkers, just like me. So I think a lot of times, if we just look at our day-to-day in the dentist office, mm-hmm. there's a lot of different opportunities to take that video or take that photo, maybe 2 or 3 photos, and then post it when it makes sense.
Yeah. So another thing I want to add, Amy Glacier, I need a better way to consolidate, streamline my efforts. I think what's really great about to be able to streamline get your entire team in on your plan. So including them in on, what is your social media strategy? Like, what are the things that they should be watching for? Or, hey, that's a really great opportunity that would be a great photo opportunity. But just getting a more with your team more heightened awareness of what type of things to capture or share. That's what I encourage my team at Shane to do that. I was like, if you see a really great opportunity, snap a photo, send it to me, and I can help you. I can help with the caption. But we're a team, and it really helps streamline consistent content.
And the next step that we talk about then after platforms, content, the next one, of course, is posting strategies. So one of the first things that I would have a look at is to make it really simple is number one is if you're not doing it weekly or regularly, just start weekly. Every Monday, you're going to talk about social media, right? So that you're just going to come up with one post. Just start there, one post every single week. And you eventually want to get to daily. The reason why you want to be able to get to frequency is think about when you go on. Let's talk about Camilo. Camilo, when you go on to Facebook, the first time you open it up and you start scrolling, how long do you stay in that feed before you put the phone down?
Not very long.
Give me minutes.
Minutes, yeah.
A few minutes,
okay.
Right? So you have basically maybe 2 to 5 minutes to catch someone's attention. And by the way, if you're not in their algorithm of what they've been liking that Facebook's showing them, your post might not even come up.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why you want to get to eventually daily and eventually to multiple times in a day. But let's just start at weekly. So you're not putting up anything that's regular at all. So then start at weekly and then go to daily. To make it easy, if once you go from weekly to go to daily, just think of the theme. Mondays I'm going to talk about, Monday molars. So I'm going to talk about chomping on food, jawbreakers, the taxing of the teeth. T is going to be Technical Tuesday. So I'm going to talk to you about some of the cool equipment that we got back there to be able to make some of these fake teeth. Sure. I have 5 fake teeth, by the way. That's why I'm pointing out my own mouth. You can be talking about some of the technical side, like how does this glue actually work that we're shoving in someone's fake mouth, or their fake teeth, or their mouth, their fake mouth, whatever. We're shoving in this stuff into their face, and it's going to stick on there. I have fake teeth that's been in here for I think 19 years, Keri Anne.
Great.
They have not been replaced. They've just shoved in my face. And we just assume that the glue's good. That's what we just did. I wasn't like, I was just an applicator.
It's not just a glue stick.
And then we have Wacky Wednesday, where you can. And again, if you're not wacky, then don't try to be wacky. But I think about Tony Little.
Yeah.
He's hysterical, right?
Yes.
And so if you're funny, if you have some
witty.
Yeah. If
Witty Wednesday?
If you're not, then that's okay. Don't try to be that. But Wacky Wednesday is kind of fun. Throwback Thursday, so if you've been in business for a number of years, if I'm a dentist, I can show, hey, here's me going to college. Here's me with my sideburns. Here's me with my mustache. If you had facial hair back then. I haven't had any of those things, so maybe one day I will have
Me neither.
a mustache in the future. We hope you never have it. And then Friday can be like Friday feeling. And what are we feeling about the week? Things that went well, things that didn't go well. Feelings about customer care or patient care, or feelings about, hey, if I'm a dentist, somebody had to clean that toilet after that person left. I got to talk about that stuff. Maybe not show a photo, but again, it's kind of interesting.
No.
It's fascinating what a business owner has to do.
No, that's that. Anyway, I want to add one thing because Brandon just reminded me of something. Brandon, thanks for being here, buddy. So also one thing that you can do with your dental practice, healthcare clinic in general, is who are the vendors that are helping your operation work well? What are they, your suppliers? Who do you really enjoy working with? It's really important because your business wouldn't be as successful as it is without all of these components. Mm-hmm. So don't think small. Think outside the box and who are all of the people that are contributing to your operation daily? Who has really been great to work with? A buddy of mine runs, this isn't dental clinic related, but it's very similar. One of my buddies owns a grocery store in Rib Mountain, and Rib Mountain IGA. And I was just talking with him, and I was like, the things you could share is Produce Monday, da-da-da-da. But who do you get the produce from? Why do you buy that produce? From them. What is it about them that you really enjoy working with? Hey, Joe's coming in today. He's bringing me my tomatoes. And I really like working with him. But, I mean, Brandon, great example. Like, what is it about, this particular company that is supplying my dental supplies? Like, why do I like working with them? That's something that may be helpful too for other clinics, like to know that you trust this person to bring you your supplies on a routine basis, on time, et cetera, et cetera. So who are all of the people that are making your business run successfully? What are all the components? Thinking of that.
It's a really good point, Keri Anne. And again, that's the power of like tagging someone else. So let's say there's a vendor that you regularly use and they are on Facebook or they are on Instagram. You now have the ability to tag them, right? You put the @ symbol and you write their name out, and all of a sudden their page comes up. And what happens is, if you're not familiar, is anyone that's following them gets notified. Oh, hey, I get notified that somebody tagged Brandon in a photo, depending on how he has his privacy settings set up and all that fun stuff. But all of a sudden now, anyone that's following him can now have access to your site. And so that's how you start getting into getting recognized by other individuals. And so it's another way too to be able to recognize the people that you work with as collaborative partners.
Collaborative partners. I like that. Yep, good.
Was there anything else that you wanted to talk about when it came to like the posting strategy or being consistent in that?
Well, I just think consistency is key. And, one thing that we just haven't talked about before, but that just was really prompted by Amy's question, was just, how do I streamline that? And I just really think it's a lot of getting your entire team involved. Obviously, being in compliance with your social media policy, if you have one of those for your business, because we do want to be respectful of the business, respectful of our employees, and ensuring that what we're sharing is within the compliance of what the clinic wants to share with the community. So that's also one thing to keep in mind, just as I put on my little HR hat there for a second. But just, compliance with the social media policy if you do have one, and if you don't, really communicating with your team the things that are appropriate to share. So
then now we shift to engagement, which I think is really the fun part of the aspect, right? Because now you're engaging with people that are either interested in having some services here, or they are already patients of yours. And so now you have an opportunity to touch them in a way that's meaningful and that costs you, again, $0, just some time. And so one of the first ones that come to mind is swag, stuff we all get. Right? So if you don't have a relationship with like a promotional business, hey, you sent me the construction business. Mm-hmm. This construction company here locally wanted to have some shirts in a timely fashion, like immediately. So they went and bought an embroidery machine and made their own. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's a huge opportunity to, like the 20-some-year-olds, Camilo probably can attest to this, he'll probably do anything for a free t-shirt. Right? I remember I got a free baseball at the Kansas City Royals game just for filling out a credit card application. And got a free baseball. That's the only reason why I applied for that credit card, was to get a free baseball. And I don't even play baseball, but I got something for free. It's true.
I'm just so
That's back when credit was really simple. So
yeah.
Like, are you breathing? Yes. What's your birthday? You can have a credit card.
So
it's a huge opportunity for you to be able to give away. I think I was going to show it. There's an entire fishbowl full of little lip balms, little chapsticks, right? And it's got their name on it. Okay. And guess what? They can give those away things like crazy. Everyone should be getting those. You want to come in, get a t-shirt, get a hat. Magnets last like 7 years on a refrigerator, just so you know, by the way. So they're a really good investment. They just sit there forever. Pens. I think if you ever go to a restaurant, does any of you ever eat? Servers always lose pens. People always take their pens. So I would just give, hey server, do you need pens? Here's 5 of them. My dentist office is on it right away. And so when that person decides to take it and they look at Glacier Dental, it's got my phone number on it, bam. Mm-hmm. Now all of a sudden I'm on the top of their mind when they need a little dental action.
Right. So having yourself out there is going to increase your visibility, and you will be top of mind for the community. So that is very important. Yep. Good point.
And the other thing is that as people engage, so this is a question that I remember Sarah Gass had brought up a couple months ago, that what about the negative responders, right? So they give you a negative review. And the reality of business, by the way, and I know a lot of us want to be seen as like 100% always on the perfection of giving service. Sometimes we can't solve everyone's needs. And so sometimes people aren't very happy with what we might have done. They might give us a negative review, right? Give us a negative massage review, right? 1 star, they were horrible. So what the most important thing there is, though, is that there is a positive engagement on your end. That you responded in a timely fashion. You didn't throw them under the bus and say, you were a horrible patient. That's why your teeth smell like garbage. There's nothing we can do about that. You have halitosis. We can't solve that problem. You're eating garlic. So as long as you're not insulting the patient, then you're going to be able to be seen as an employer, a provider that is conscious, is aware of the needs of their patients, even when they leave and even if they had a bad experience.
Exactly. I mean, the worst thing that you can do is ignore it, not respond, delete the post. Show that you're prompt, that you care, you want to make things right. Maybe there's just some miscommunication, but definitely don't ignore it. That's the worst thing you can do.
So one of the comments was here on Instagram. He says, make sure the swag can do something for you. Think about like maybe branded pocket tissue packets, a little sunscreen. So that way it's not just this, it's just a piece of crap, right? Obviously dentists, they give away toothbrushes like crazy. So they put their name on it. So every time I grab a toothbrush, just another idea. You should always solicit reviews and feedback. Yeah, absolutely.
For anybody that's online, just out of curiosity, how do you get reminders or notifications of your upcoming appointments through your dental clinic? Anybody here?
I get a text message.
Okay. Text message. Anyone else online?
Whoa, Marathon County needs more dentist action. That's not healthy.
Yeah,
a phone call.
Phone call? Okay. I got a postcard the other day. It also had my sister's name on it. That was weird. So, anyway, but I prefer that I get a text message. We always have our phones. That's my preference. I mean, I'm just kind of curious. Like in today's technology, what are you seeing as far as your notifications, like your reminders and such, like from your dental clinic? So, just kind of an impromptu question.
So some of the comments were preventing disease cheaper than fixing, which is true. An ounce of cure. Wait, is that what it is? An ounce of cure is better than a pound of. Ounce of prevention is better than a cure. There you go. Totally butchered that.
Oh.
Hey, we're getting a phone call. And then let's see. Here at this place, this awesome facility. I love this smile, by the way.
I know, me
just
too.
Down with this thing. You can't help but not smile when you see the word smile, by the way. Is that they text and they mail.
Okay.
Email.
So Glacier.
Pam gets a text.
Yeah, Glacier does text and email. Okay. Pam Jackson says text. Okay, Pam Jackson, I still need to take your advice on some themes. Pam, we're coming after you soon. So, okay. Good. Thanks for that feedback. I was curious. So.
And then so as we go to so part of the engagement is when people it's to go beyond the emoji is basically the way that I describe it, right? So if you're all on Facebook and you see something you like it, thumbs up, the heart, what's the other face? Is there a crying face? Oh, that's a sad one. Yeah,
there is.
And then there's one more. Maybe is there an angry face?
Yeah.
I don't know. I never used that one, so I don't know if it's even existing. Anyway, so the idea is that from as you're putting out the content, right? You're the creator. You're the one that is putting out the content. You want to make sure that you go beyond that. So don't just like comments. Go back and say, "Hey, thank you, Camilo, for saying that about this post." Brian, thank you for liking this stuff.
Yeah.
So you're able to then start a dialogue with these patients or prospective patients that are following you.
Right, and it may be just an open door to receiving a direct message, a DM for, additional questions about your service. Like, Glacier Dental, I think about a month ago, shared a post about, do you wet your toothbrush before or after you put your toothpaste on?
Yes, that was a cool one.
And I was like, what do I do? But it made me think, and I was like, so anyway, that's obviously something that I remember because it made me think. But creating that unique and original content is so key.
And it's totally okay.
It encourages engagement from your online community. So
are you surprised sometimes that you think something is going to be like, oh, people are going to love this, and it's crickets?
Yes. So for those that didn't hear, Amy had mentioned, sometimes you think you're going to have a great piece of content, a great post, and then all of a sudden nothing, right? Crickets. And that's the value of being consistent. We talked about this, right? Is that you just don't know what's actually going to connect with people in a way that's meaningful. And what one person might be like, that's the greatest thing in the world. Like, I loved thinking about brushing teeth. Another person might say, I totally love this idea about training kids on how to brush their teeth. Or I love this idea about, sleeping with a mouth guard so I don't grind my teeth. I have a lot of mouth problems, by the way. I just literally described myself in all those comments because I have a 7-month-old son that's got like 9 teeth. Not 9. He's got 5 teeth already, Keri Anne. He's got 5. It's like 7 months old. He's just got a bunch of chompers in there. So,
does he have a toothbrush?
He does now.
Good.
So, thumbs up from Ben. Okay. All right, so just to kind of recap, this is where we're at. Okay, so platforms, if you're in the dental business, orthodontics, dentistry, some kind of endodontists, all you fancy people. So what I would say, oral surgeons. Oral surgeons are they're like super guys, right? Because they're the ones that
I think they're all super.
They put their knees on your chest and they're ripping out teeth. Anyway.
I do that.
They do.
Right? No.
I've seen it. So.
No.
So what happens here is that Facebook, Instagram, those are your winners. If you feel comfortable taking longer video, YouTube can be a good platform. If you enjoy kind of having a more conversation, then a podcast is a win for you. But I'd say the first two I'd be focusing on are Facebook and Instagram.
Yep.
Then we get to content. And that's where, as Keri Anne had mentioned, was making sure that you're posting out things that as people are kind of researching you, because they are in a much more research-driven society. We want information before we go in. We don't like being surprised. And so you want to be able to make sure that your content is informative as well as showcasing exactly who you are. And then we have, of course, then the posting, being consistent, tagging vendors, employees, and then finally, of course, engagement. Really engage with people, getting beyond that double tap on Instagram, getting beyond the emoji on Facebook. And that's really going to allow you to have that strategy of what to do to move forward.
And how can you educate the community too? I want to go back to something on content that just hit me. So, how-to videos, how to floss, the best way to floss. We at Glacier really like this type of floss, and here's, our hygienist, so-and-so is going to today do a 2-minute piece on the best way to floss and how often you should floss. But taking it as an educational opportunity, a lot of people, and we know in our environment, right, that in healthcare, it can be costly and deductibles can be high. What can we take the opportunity? We care about our community. How can we educate the community through our Facebook page and show them, maybe some things that they can do on their own to increase and improve their oral health, but using it as an opportunity for that as well.
I just thought of one was all the toothbrushes, electric, not supersonic air versus just vibrating or whatever they're doing. Then you have a bazillion, there's seriously like a gazillion, that's a number, of toothpaste products out there. And so what should I, as a consumer, what should I be looking out for? What things actually do make sense? Does the tooth whitening toothpaste really do anything? Maybe if I consume a ton of cigarettes and coffee at the same time, and they look gross anyway.
Do that.
So that's where I think a lot of times think of the consumer. So this is the problem. I think a lot of times when you get kind of technical. Obviously, if I'm a dentist, right? I've had a ton of schooling. I love this stuff. I love teeth. I look at people's teeth all the time. I have great eye contact with their teeth when I talk to them. But the problem is that think about the average consumer. We don't think about our teeth outside of, brushing them and how bad our mouth stinks. So think about what we're going to be concerned about. Think about your audience and what they would want to know.
Mm-hmm. I mean, personally, like when you mentioned toothpaste, so I have really sensitive teeth. I also have a little bit of receding gums, which I think contributes to my sensitive teeth. Amy says yes.
Okay.
So, what's my best?
Not Amy Garvey, though, because
No.
she doesn't know.
But is my best option Sensodyne? I don't know.
I hope not, because Sensodyne to me is for old people. That's when you're 7 years old.
That's not true. Amy, is that true? Sensodyne.
It's not.
It's
It's
for
not for old people?
It's not just for old people.
It's it's the stereotypical Cadillac. We always assume that some old dude's driving it or a Buick.
I think I
Yeah,
need.
we are old.
That's what we think about Sensodyne, by the way.
I think I need it.
Sensodyne, you need a better marketing campaign because I think it's for old people.
It's not because I think it's not. I think it's not.
Keri Anne's using it. That's why she's saying that.
Anyway, beyond. Let's move on.
Yes. Okay. So, thanks again, Glacier Dental, having us in your awesome space,
Yes.
talking about the strategies of social media, how you can leverage it in the dentistry arena. We'll be meeting next week, everybody, the 13th, and we'll be talking about getting a job. That's exciting. I was at a recent career fair, so a lot of great thoughts. And I saw some recruiters, by the way, doing some really stupid things, like not talking to people and sitting behind their laptop. And they're at a job fair, and they're on their work laptop. And I'm like, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
Anyway.
That's odd.
We'll see you next week.
Thanks for joining us, everyone.
Peace. Okay, thanks everybody. Now we gotta shut it all down.